All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today we're kind of acting like digital archaeologists, but we're not digging through dirt or ancient stone, obviously. Instead, we are going to forensically examine the metadata of a fascinatingly isolated web page. This is a deep dive into a specific, frozen moment in a massive digital universe. You know, in an era where millions of games are uploaded and forgotten literally every single day, what can one single, seemingly forgotten page tell us about its creator, the platform, and the whole nature of digital preservation? Well, this is our chance to find out.
Here's our agenda for today. The Glass Obby artifact, analyzing the player data, mechanics and restrictions, the 2026 time paradox, the corporate wrapper, and finally, no running experiences. Section 1. The Glass Obby artifact, examining the origin. So, we're starting our investigation with the core artifact itself, a creation that barely left a trace of its existence, Christiblox Glass Obby, by the user Christian Kivers. And that's pretty much all we get. There's no sprawling lore here, absolutely zero massive promotional artwork, just a lowercase title and a username whispered into the digital void. It gives the whole space this immediate, almost eerie sense of mystery. Like, who is Christian Kivers, and what was their actual vision for this Glass Obby, which is just a common term used to describe an obstacle course. This raw simplicity is literally our only doorway into their world.
Section 2. Analyzing the player data, the digital footprint.
39. Now, what's really interesting about these numbers is the story they tell about human interaction, or honestly, the lack of it. In an ecosystem where popular games are seeing millions of visitors a day, 39 represents the total lifetime visits for the Christiblox Glass Obby. That is the absolute limit of human foot traffic this digital space has ever seen. Just 39 times someone, somewhere in the world, clicked a button and manifested inside this specific architecture. It's wild, right? It's a perfect snapshot of the digital ghost towns that make up the vast majority of user-generated platforms.
Now, out of those 39 intrepid visitors, exactly 4 of them deemed the experience worthy of a favorite. If you think about it, that's roughly a 10% conversion rate. 4 individuals explored this space, really resonated with the obstacle course, and decided to pin it to their personal profiles. It's this tiny, quiet little echo of appreciation left behind in the metadata, proving that even the most isolated digital spaces can make some kind of connection.
But we've got to contrast those tiny, quiet interaction metrics with the actual structural ambition of the creator. The server size is built to hold 50 players at once. The creator built this space with the capacity for a massive crowd. They clearly envisioned dozens of avatars simultaneously jumping, running, racing, and interacting in a shared space. The architecture was designed from the ground up for a bustling, chaotic community that, well, simply never arrived.
Which brings us to the stark reality of right now. As indicated by the active player count, there are exactly 0 active players filling that 50-person capacity. The servers are entirely empty. That grand 50-person arena is sitting completely silent today, just waiting for players that aren't coming.
Section 3. Mechanics and restrictions. Parameters of the space.
Looking at the metadata really clarifies what this game was mechanically built to do. Genre, obby, and platformer. Subgenre, runner. This is a space built entirely for forward momentum. An obby requires jumping, timing, and spatial awareness, while the runner subgenre implies speed and continuous movement. The irony here is just palpable. The game wasn't meant for standing still. It was literally built to propel you forward, yet it remains totally frozen in time.
And this brilliantly illustrates the strict platform constraints placed on this runner. On one hand, you've got a maturity rating of minimal, meaning it's universally accessible, totally safe, and completely devoid of intense themes. But contrast that with the communication limits. Voice chat not supported, camera not supported. Even if 2 of those 39 visitors had magically been in the server at the exact same time, they couldn't even speak to one another. It is a sterile, silent track meant only for minimal maturity platforming, stripping away the social features the platform is fundamentally known for.
Section 4. The 2026 time paradox, a temporal anomaly.
Okay, so this is where things get genuinely weird. We are now encountering the most baffling piece of metadata on the entire page. Our timeline has a very clear past, 39 lifetime visits. We have our present, 0 active players. And then we have this impossible future anomaly. Updated April 13th, 2026. Wait, what? The source material even explicitly notes copyright 2026. How on earth can an entirely dormant, 0-player game bear an update date from the future? Is it just a system glitch, a placeholder date set by a testing environment? Or did the creator somehow schedule an update for a future that hasn't even happened yet? It is a literal temporal paradox sitting right there in the basic metadata of a dead game.
Section 5. The corporate wrapper, the infrastructure surrounding it. If we zoom out from that temporal anomaly for a second, we have to look at the massive infrastructure encasing this tiny, empty game, because the Christiblox glass obby doesn't just exist in a vacuum. Right alongside this tiny 39-visit game, you've got official links to corporate jobs, the company blog, resources for parents, terms of service, privacy policies, and help desks. The artifact is completely bolted into a massive, heavily lawyered corporate infrastructure.
And just beyond that legal framework is a booming, aggressive digital economy. The page is surrounded by tabs for the marketplace, the creator store, prompts to buy Robux, and buttons to sign up and log in. The vibrant, incredibly lucrative ecosystem of the platform just starkly contrasts with the utter emptiness of the glass obby. It's honestly like finding a totally abandoned, silent room sitting smack in the middle of Times Square. The commerce, the creation, the transactions, they never stop around it. But inside this specific border, nothing moves.
Section 6. No running experiences the final status.
As we wrap up our explainer, we confront the final, undeniable truth printed on the page. There are currently no running experiences. Read that again. Despite the server capacity of 50, despite the mechanical design of a fast-paced runner, and despite the massive corporate infrastructure hosting the whole thing, the engine is off. The simulation is halted. It's a beautifully melancholic statement about the nature of digital preservation. The space exists, the code is hosted, the servers are paid for, but the experience itself is not running.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. With a metadata update inexplicably slated for April 13th, 2026, what exactly are we looking at here? Is the Christiblox glass obby simply a forgotten, abandoned project from a novice creator? Or, trapped within its minimal maturity constraints and surrounded by a billion-dollar marketplace, is it a digital space quietly waiting to wake up in the future? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. The next time you stumble onto an empty web page, maybe take a closer look at the metadata and keep questioning the data left behind.